Well, see that?
It's Valentine.
It's Valentine's. But before I say Valentine's, I want to present this to you. It's 2 days after your birthday. But happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah. So, what we plan to do for you today in this celebration of Valentine and love, we are not here to debate whether you should or should not celebrate Valentine. But because we are in this marriage ministry, we believe in celebrating love, and so to all our listeners, our loyal listeners, and of course we hope we could add to that amount of those of you who follow us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Marital Angel is here to be a blessing to your marriage. And so for this Valentine season, we just want to share with you the 5 love language from Gary Chapman. We found it to be a very good tool for any couple, who really wants to develop how to communicate love.
Yes.
So, what's the first one?
Words of affirmation.
I love that one,
Yes.
Yeah. I believe, however, that is my strength.
Okay.
In paying compliment often, in telling you nice things about yourself. And so, what are some of the things we can learn from words of affirmation? Well,
I could say sometimes when a person is down, you can use encouraging words to build them up.
Yes.
Sometimes when you feel a bit low, you encourage them. You can do it. You are the best. I remember always saying Stephen the Great, even though at times we may falter and make mistakes, it doesn't change who you are to me. You are still Stephen the Great to me. So we encourage each other as well. That is declaring, words of affirmation is like declaring the truth about someone.
Yeah. And the good things and the strengths.
Yes, and the strengths.
It is digging up the strengths of the person. I think words of affirmation can also be used on an everyday basis also. Like, take for example, the food that you cook. Compliment the food that you cook. Your husband washed the car and things like that. You compliment him, It means as though you're not taking the person for granted.
Quite true. Yes.
Always find something positive to say. I love Songs of Solomon. That use a lot of wonderful compliments and words of affirmation. He made this woman feel so beautiful, if you ask me, by describing her body and her face and her lips. And then guess what? She in return
complimented her husband.
Very, very good. Well, another way to communicate love is quality time.
Oh, I love that.
You love quality time.
Just recently, I realized, well, for most of you would know, when we share our life, my husband loves to make breakfast. And recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago, he started to wait for me to have breakfast with him. Usually, he would make breakfast, have his breakfast, because of course from the time he's up, he's ready to eat. And it's no issue at all, none at all. But because, when I am up, he'll ask me what I want, and then I will get something hot as well. But I see him controlling himself to wait to have breakfast with me, and in so doing, all that's quality time. While we're eating, we are chatting, and I remember Pastor Coffee telling us many years ago when we went to this function,
if we did not see
we were
each other
talking
for the
so
day.
much, and it's like, oh, you didn't see each other for the day or what? We said no, we were together the whole day. So it comes so natural, and I think we should try to make it become a habit where we can spend quality time with each other. It is necessary.
Quality time means that you are giving your spouse undivided attention. And it is not so much to say that this has to be an hour or 2 hours. It doesn't mean that. It means that whatever, you're speaking to each other, you engage. And it also means carving out time.
Correct.
Like how we have our date nights.
Yes.
We encourage people to have date nights. You carve out time and say, this is ours. You know, those of you who have little children, I know it can be a little challenge, but sometimes you can get grandmommy and granddaddy to help a bit so that you can carve out time just for each other. And there's some of you who are so busy. Let me tell you something. That busyness can have a negative impact on your relationship.
Yes.
So don't wait for things to fall down. Then you find in time to go by a lawyer and time to go by a counselor. Whereas before, you can show love to your spouse by giving this time.
Yes, and sometimes, you know, you can be together in a place. So I am here, you are there, but we are not spending quality time because you're on your phone, I'm on my phone, I might be watching TV, I might be doing something.
What a point.
You understand? We are together, but there's no togetherness.
What a point. Today we are distracted with our phones. It is so almost like hard to see a couple sitting at a table, even in a restaurant or a public place, without either of them just being on the phone, which means that you are communicating with others, you're being distracted by others because you cannot hold each other's attention again, you know, and it affects
so you're not giving attention to each other. You might say, well, we were together, but quality. I didn't get your undivided attention.
It's not just spending time, I think it's quality time.
Exactly.
This one I believe is your favorite.
Receiving gifts. Well, you know, the scripture says, what you sow that you shall reap, right? So if I'm giving gifts, I would expect gifts in return.
I did not grow up receiving gifts. I grew up with words of affirmation. Up to this day, you know, I remember my dad encouraging me. But gifts, because, you know, we were not so fortunate, well off, gifts were not a big thing to exchange, but we just appreciated completely. Whereas when I met you, giving gifts for something.
Gifts mean I'm thinking about you. I mean, when you get a gift.
Well, when I say nice things too, I thought so. But
wow, this person is thinking about me, and I mean, it's a symbol of love when you see that, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You're not looking at the cost or the price of it.
Well, I think sometimes we need to.
Well, yes,
because some people bring some of, you know, the cheapest thing and say it is the thought that counts, and then I say, how much thought did you put into this? So there's also that. There must be sometimes. But I'm saying it goes even with when we can afford. There are times, I mean, I may just buy a little chocolate or something.
Right. Yes.
That is inexpensive.
Inexpensive.
But when you know that there are big occasions coming.
Correct. Yes.
It's a big occasion.
It's a big occasion.
It's an annual. It's a once in a. Why would I just not think about it and last minute just try to get something so cheap and say it is a thought that counts? No, that means you were not thinking. I believe gifts also reflect the value that I put in you. And so if I get a precious gift, like how Jesus gave, God gave Jesus. It's the scripture when we say his only begotten son. So we know that was a precious gift. He didn't send an angel, which you have thousands of those. He sent his only begotten son. And so to me, if you are, I give you a gift, something that is quality, something that costs me something, you would value it more. And then on top of that, if I try to find out what you really like,
that says a lot. That paints a bright picture. And you know, Stephen, not just, you don't buy gifts just because there's a special occasion, but impromptu. You can do things spontaneous.
I agree too.
Spontaneously, you know, you can do things because I really think it goes a long way. I mean, expressing love to your children as well. So I mean, in Valentine's is about love. So I mean, you and I, and also the children as well. You do impromptu things for your kids as well.
You know, we travel a lot, and especially me. And I believe every time you travel, it's nice to come up with something. I mean, again, I was thinking about you. Well, we're going good, and now we have
acts of service. Yes.
I also like acts of service. My wife would have mentioned to you about the breakfast now. So to me, that's a big thing. I ask the entire family, what do you want? And there's nothing they can ask for that is too much for me to prepare. I love to do it. To me, that is real love. And I talk about even baking in the morning, muffins and doing things hotel style. I like to present food like this hotel style.
Yes.
These people do their things with quality, and to me, if I serve you with quality,
yes,
it means that I value you, how I present it to you and everything.
We're kind to each other, how we speak to each other. Sometimes, in reading some of the books, you want your spouse to do something, but and he or she may not at the time do it, but you have not realized, or even you were not conscious about the other things that they were doing, and you're just focusing on this one thing. And sometimes we have to go back and analyze, I may want my husband to do this one thing, but he would have done so many other things.
Yes.
He would have washed my vehicle. He would have put gas in my vehicle. He would have carried out the garbage. And those are things that we take for granted. We take these things for granted.
And when I do the last one, remind me to get back with converting our currency.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, converting our currency. And then we have, I have some favorite, but I think this is my favorite. Touch.
You like to touch.
We saw this show Avatar.
Oh yes.
It's still to be one of the best movies I've ever seen. And one of the ways that I can't remember her name in the show, but she would express, I see you. And she would say, Jake Sully, I see you.
Yes.
But to me, saying I see you with a touch, and my touch could be, by people touch.
Yeah.
But it means to say, I see you.
Yeah.
I don't pass you straight.
Yeah, I notice you.
Yes, I notice. Yes. We have too many people just passing each other straight.
Not touching.
Not engaged, not touching. Exactly.
Yes, they're not connecting at all.
So make sure that the touch that you touch is not this type of touch.
Yes.
It is not hurting your spouse. It is caressing.
Yes.
It is gentle. It is a holding of hands. It is praying,
praying together
with hands clasped, something like that.
Yeah.
It's touch, it's communicating love. And that's what you do, because sometimes even your children are afraid because you're so rough, You're so rough with it.
In the scripture it talks about Isaac was sporting his wife.
He was sporting his wife.
Yes. So listen, we have to do things to make this relationship exciting.
What about years ago we were coming down our street here, we lived in George Street and we were coming to church, and my wife and I, we were holding hands coming, and a neighbor looked and say, "You all stop that nonsense." Oh, she should not have told me that. I looked at her and I said, we are licensed to do this.
Yes.
We have young people who are not licensed and they touch it where, according to this actually Paul said you shouldn't even touch.
Correct.
Whereas now we are licensed, you're not touching. We are upside down in this world.
Correct, yes.
So I wanted to quickly talk about currency conversion before we finish our greetings to you. So we mentioned 5 love languages. You probably have a different way, not even what we mentioned, but Gary Chapman. But if the only way you interpret love is the way you express it, as you mentioned, sometimes you may take for granted the breakfast that is being done. You may take for granted your spouse saying, I love you, because you may not be the ones who's saying I love you regularly, but you may be the one putting the gas in the vehicle. So you have to see how your partner is expressing love and appreciate it.
Yeah.
So this is how with the gifts. I was not person with gifts.
Yeah.
But because you were there, now I am the one buying gifts so that I can communicate. I converted my way. Otherwise I could have just said, well, I don't buy gifts. Or I say I love you, so you give me gifts, and I say I love you, and you waiting for a gift when we're already told.
And that's a big conversion, Stephen, from Baji flowers to rose to bouquet. You may not know this, but when we first met and I told him I love flowers, the guy went and picked a Baji flower, spinach flower for me, and I'm saying, what am I getting myself into? But again, it was transformed.
And now you get bouquet with all kind of lilies and
yes.
the expensive orchids and things like that.
Yes.
But conversion took place, and I'm saying, so sometimes you have to convert your currency or convert the way you are communicating love for your partner to appreciate it. So don't just say, this is who I am.
Yes.
Well, again, we want to wish you the best for this time, and we are cheering to you. So let me give you a first drink.
Yeah. No, let me give you something to drink. Good.
Let me give you some.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
We love you. All right.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and you. Love was made